So first grade was really when I started to notice that I just knew something wasn't quite right. I began feeling nauseous in my throat, and there wasn't really any other way I could explain what that was. But it wasn't a feeling like I was going to throw up. It was just this lingering feeling that I was always nauseous. And as well as I always had a lot of ear infections, I was always missing a ton of school. I missed anywhere from 25 to 30 days every single year. And that continued until my freshman year of high school. During my middle school years, I still knew that not everything was quite right. I was always getting hurt, spraining a knee, an ankle, a wrist. I was always getting sick. A common cold would take me 2 or 3 weeks to get over, and it would take a couple other people like 2 or 3 days. Everything just took me way longer, and we could never figure out why. As well as the ton of ear infections, upper respiratory infections. Like, I was always sick with something. It just wasn't, like, we could never figure out the cause of that. And I was nauseous every single day from first grade until my freshman year of high school. Morning, noon, and night, every single day. It just never went away. In 8th grade, I played volleyball, and I had a volleyball injury where I tore 75% of the ligament off my arm and unattached 2 nerves. This really began the spiral that just never stopped until I found chiropractic. It just developed into lots of panic attacks. I had anywhere between 5 to 30 a day. They lasted anywhere from a couple minutes to a couple of hours, and I really couldn't function. I ended up in a wheelchair, and I was just always getting hurt with something, even though I had just had surgery. Just nothing was really going right, and we couldn't figure out why that was. And then one day, my mom was scrolling on Facebook, and she found the Light for Levi story, and there was this picture of the Perfect Storm poster, and I was 90% of that poster. So we called PWC Chiropractic, and we were the very first phone call of the 400 they got that day, and that's when I went to start my 2-week intensive program. After my very first adjustment, I saw colors brighter than I had ever seen them before. I didn't know the world could be viewed in the way that it was when I saw it. By the 3rd day, my nausea had went away that I had for 8 years, and I began feeling like a totally new person. And since that, everything has really just fallen into place, and I have been healthier than I have ever been before. During that first 2-week intensive, I was sleeping a lot, and I knew that that sleep was healing. And so even though I was sleeping 16 hours a day for those 2 weeks, I just knew my body was finally getting back to a place where it needed to be. As well, on the 3rd day, I started leaning off of my anxiety medication that I had been on for about 6 months, and I never had another panic attack after that, which was something that I never thought was going to be possible. The first day I walked into PWC, I walked in on crutches. I had sprained my knee and my ankle, and the second adjustment that afternoon, I never needed the crutches, and I hadn't picked them up again. It was just truly amazing, everything that chiropractic did for me, and it was just really clear that God had pointed all the things in the right directions to lead me to healing, and He just used the group of wonderful people there to provide that for me. Once I went home after that 2-week intensive, I was seeing a chiropractor 3 days a week, and it was a really far drive from our house because we didn't know of one any closer. So in those weeks and months following, I was getting better, and there were still some things that weren't 100% with me, but I knew that they were going to come eventually. And in turn, I did get better with those things, like my menstrual cycle and my gut health, and those were all things that I've been working on and really just diving deeper into the foods I eat. But truly, the best thing for me was consistent chiropractic care. My first week intensive was in April of 2021, and in July that year, something in me just really knew that I wanted to become a chiropractor. I'd always wanted to be a doctor since I was about 3 or 4. I just knew I wanted to help people, and I loved learning about the body and how it worked. But once I realized the true benefits of chiropractic care, I wanted to be able to provide that for someone else like it had been done to me. I just knew with all these kids out there, and I've always loved kids, that I wanted to be able to serve the way that others do. And I just knew this was the path that God had put me on, was to be able to serve other people. And I just love the community that chiropractors have, and they all are just so like-minded, and they truly want to help people get to the root cause of their issues, and that just really aligned with my beliefs, and I can't wait until I can do that for somebody else. I have gone down to Life University, and I was accepted into their undergrad program, which I will start next year, and I will do my doctorate there as well. And I've met so many amazing people there. I just can't wait to be able to serve and provide God's purpose up to other people and truly just perform miracles and help other people heal in their own lives. So I always knew there was a reason that I was going through everything I did. Even though it lasted for 15 years and I was never healthy, I just knew that I couldn't give up because I knew there was a greater purpose. And once I found chiropractic care, I realized that was my purpose, that this was what God had called me to do. This was how I was going to be in life. This was my lifestyle. This was how I was meant to live. And I know one day there's going to be a little girl looking up at me on that adjusting table needing help, and I can't wait for that day I can provide that help for her so she can go and live a healthy childhood that I wasn't able to have because I was always really sick. And I would never want someone else to be able to go through that, because kids are meant to be outside and playing and laughing and having fun. They shouldn't be on all these antibiotics and just laying inside and missing school, because that's not what your childhood is all about. So to anyone who is questioning chiropractic, I'd say just do it. Just go all in. You might not know where it's headed or where it's going to take you, but just taking that blind leap of faith, because it truly will be the best thing. And it is such a life-changing thing that I feel is very underrated, because people aren't just educated about it. Once you learn about it, it makes sense. It makes sense how the body is made to heal itself. And it's such a beautiful thing because it is so simple, yet most people don't know about it. And the key is to be consistent. If you're not consistent, it's not going to work. You have to put in the work and do it as many times as you need to be able to be fully functioning so your body can heal as it was meant to be. My name is Kenna, and we will make it through this storm.